All right, let's get started with 6.4, solving polynomial equations. So, what are we going to learn? We're going to solve polynomial equations two ways. First, we're going to graph them, and then we're going to factor. And two new vocab phrases for us today, sum and difference of cubes. All right, so we'll get to that in a little bit, but first some skills check. Let's graph each system and find any points of intersection. Okay, so we're going to do number one together. Y equals 3x plus 1. Remember, we're going to go up 1. That's our y-intercept. From there, we'll go up 3 and over 1 due to the slope. And we'll connect those with a straight line. And then we have negative 2x plus 6. So we'll go up 6. And we'll go down to over 1. And fortunately, this one intersects very nicely. That's an arrow. Right here at 1 comma. Is it 4? 2, 3, 4. Yep. 1 comma 4 is our intersection. All right, and then the next section for 4, x squared minus 2x minus 15. What multiplies to negative 15 and then adds to negative 2, negative 5, and positive 3 would be the factor there. So go ahead, pause the video, do 2, 3, 5, and 6. Press play when you're ready to go. All right, so we're going to start by graphing, and we're going to use our graphing calculators on this one. So what I want you to do is grab your graphing calculators, go to your y equals screen. Oh, I'm in a different mode. Let me make sure that we are in function mode. Where am I looking? Right above it. There we go. Function here, and there's our y equal like we normally see. I'll clear these off. Okay, in our y1, we're going to write the left side, x cubed plus 3x squared. And then in our y2, we're going to write the y side, x plus 3. And we're trying to find the place where these are equal. So I'll go to the window, make sure I've got a decent window to start. If we're not sure, let's go negative 10 to 10 for our x min, x max, and then y min and y max. And we'll graph it and see what happens here. Nice little cubic function, and there's our intersection there. And okay, there are 1, 2, 3 places where we intersect. So I'm going to do a quick box zoom just to get a little closer in so we can see all of them. And then we're going to use the intersect function to get an answer for where they cross. So I'm moving over and then moving up to create my box. I'll hit enter and it'll zoom in on that. All right, and let's go ahead and use the calculate feature, second trace, calculate, for an intersect. And so the first curve, we do want that, this is our cubic one, so we just want to hit anywhere on there. Our second curve is indeed this diagonal one. And then where's our guess? I'm going to come over here and try to get it as close as possible to where I think they intersect. So there's 1, negative 3, and 0. I'll do it again for the second one. So this is still my first curve, my second curve, and where's my guess going to be? Right here. And so we end up with negative 1 comma 2. And last intersection, it intersects 3 different places. Still our first curve, second curve, and then our intersection right here, and 1 comma 4. So there we go. We have 3 different answers, and those are the 3 different places where they're equal each other, where they intersect. All right, your turn. See if you can figure out where these two equal each other. All right, let's do the same thing here. The length, the width, and the height of a portable kennel are given. When is that going to equal 5.9? So let's go back to our graphing calculator. We'll do it again. And I'm going to clear this off and set this up. So the volume is the length times the width, x plus 7. Sorry, that's the length. Times the height. I got them backwards. Width is x. Length is x plus 7. Height is x minus 1. And we want to set that equal to, what do we say here? 5.9. And we'll go ahead and graph this. Might have to zoom out here in a second. Maybe, maybe not. Yep, let's change our window here. Get a negative 10 to 10. And a negative 10 to 10. Try that one more time. There's our curve. And it intersects in 3 places. However, we know that x right now is the width. X better not be a negative number because it's hard to have a negative width. So we really only care about that point of intersection right there. So let's find out what it is. First curve, second curve, point of intersection right there. And so the width is, and we're looking for the x value, so 1.47. So we could add 7 and get the length, and we could minus 1 and we'd have the height. Okay? All right, so you're up. Do the same thing here. See if you can find the dimensions of this carrier. All right, so 2 formulas for you to write down here, the sum of cubes and the difference of cubes. Perfect cubes, a cubed plus b cubed, or a cubed minus b cubed. Has a nice formula. A plus b if it's a plus, a minus b if it's a minus, and then notice the formula here is almost exactly the same. It's a squared, ab, b squared, a squared, ab, b squared, but if you're doing addition here, subtraction here. If you're doing subtraction here, addition here. The last one's always addition. So get those down. You're going to have to memorize those formulas, and we're going to use them right now. So x cubed minus 8. Let's factor that using our new difference of cubes formula. I'm going to rewrite this as x cubed minus 2 cubed. All right, so my a is x, and my b is 2. My formula for a squared, cubed, minus b cubed is a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. And so we can put them right in x minus 2, x squared plus 2x plus, what's 2 times 2? 2 squared is 4, and we're factored all the way out. All right, your turn. Do the exact same thing. Use the formulas for 8x cubed minus 1, and be careful with this right here. Figure out what your a is. All right, let's do it again. We've got a sum of cubes here. This is 3x cubed plus 1 cubed equals 0. So we'll use our formula, 3x plus 1, and then a squared is going to be 9x squared plus 3x times, oh, I'm sorry, it's not a plus, it's a minus right there. It's the opposite. Minus 3x times 1 is 3x, and then plus 1 squared is just 1. That equals 0. All right, we know we can set each parentheses equal to 0. So 3x plus 1 equals 0, and 9x squared minus 3x plus 1 equals 0. We can split them up. The first one's easy. This is going to be x equals, move the 1 over, divide by 3. X is negative 1/3. Second one, a little trickier because it doesn't factor. So if it doesn't factor, we need to go in and use the quadratic formula. So negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Let's clean this up. 3 plus or minus 9 minus 36 is negative 27 all over 18. All right, so the square root of negative 27 is 3 plus or minus. Got to pull that I out, remember? 27 is 9 times 3, so 3i root 3 over 18. And 3 and 3 both go into 18, so we can reduce that to 1 plus or minus I root 3 all over 6. All right, so notice that this is 2 answers, a plus and a minus. This is a third answer. We know that we should have 3 answers total because it's x cubed. All right, so we need 3 answers here. All right, so complex answers because we have I in there. You're going to have to do the same thing here on number 4. Try those 2 problems. Okay, now we have to the 4th. We can factor this. Because it goes 4, 2, and then 0 here, we can pretend it's just a normal trinomial that we would factor. But instead of having x and x, we're going to have x squared and x squared. Other than that, do it how we normally would. What two numbers multiply to -8 and add to -2? A -4 and a +2. All right, now you always have to check, can you factor again? And we can, because the first one here, x squared minus 4, is a perfect square. X minus 2, x plus 2. And then nothing we could do with x squared plus 2, so we'd have to leave that alone. All right, so that's factored all the way down. See if you can do the exact same thing with a and b here on understanding check number 5. All right, last one. Let's go higher degree here because we're to the 4th and see if we can solve now. So we'll introduce the equal sign. All right, what we want to do is get 0 on one side. We're going to factor. It's x to the 4th. So we're going to have x squared and x squared. What multiplies to -12 and adds to -1? That's going to be -4 and +3. And so now we can factor again, x minus 2, x plus 2. And we're left with x squared plus 3. And remember, we'll set all three of these equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. Equals 0. X squared plus 3 equals 0. Let's solve them. X equals 2. X equals -2. X squared equals -3, so x equals the square root, with a plus or minus in front of it, of -3, which is plus or minus I root 3. Notice that this is two answers, a plus and a minus. Our third answer. Our fourth answer, we should have 4 answers because it's to the 4th. All right, last one for you to do here. Last understanding check. Solve this, and you're all done. Good luck with that, and any questions, we'll go over it in class.